So this morning I woke up to a ridiculous amount of messages on social media asking me to talk about the Ruby Franke arrest, which I've got to say I was completely shocked when I saw these messages. Obviously I've already made a video talking about the initial details we were given, but after I've uploaded that video we have got a lot more details, and to be honest, when I've read some of the more detailed articles that have now came out regarding this situation, my heart broke. Like, it's genuinely worse than even I thought, and let's be honest here, it's no surprise, right? My standards of Ruby Franke aren't exactly high. They're as low as can be. But this situation is absolutely disgusting, and in my previous video I did say, look, we've seen some bad stuff on camera, so imagine what's happened off camera, and unfortunately that statement is very valid, and we have got a lot more details, and more family members have came out to speak about this. Shari speaking about it even further, and is trying to get as much evidence as possible regarding Ruby Franke and what she's been saying on Connexions specifically. And yeah, let me just give the updates in the best order I can, chronological order from when they were released earlier today. So obviously we spoke about in my first video how Shari was kind of the first person to mention the fact that Ruby had been arrested. She posted this story saying finally. She also posted another story saying today's a big day, justice is being served. This is stuff that we spoke about in my previous video, but we've now had some more posts on Shari's Instagram which read, I need your help. If you have links to any questionable or concerning Connexions or 8 Passengers videos, please DM them to me. It's too much for me to sort through myself. And more specifically, she goes on to say she needs more of the connection stuff they've been saying on Connexions. We are aware of most of the 8 Passenger things already. And then it also provides a Google Doc link for anyone to post any details and any links to videos that they have, and I will leave this link in the description. And if you do have clips that you don't think have been posted on here already, then make sure you send them over, because obviously it could clearly help. If we go over to the Google Doc, it's very detailed already. There are many links on here from people who want to help, which is nice to see, right? People actually want to help out, and people are trying their best to help with these links. In fact, I'm actually working on a compilation almost of my previous videos talking about 8 Passengers. I'm going through all my videos, any clips of Connexions that I have, I'm compiling them. In fact, I can literally go to Premiere Pro right now. I'm currently cutting this down, as you can see, and I'm labeling like each one to kind of mention what is said in this part of the clip. And yeah, like I said, I've been working on this for the past like couple hours. I'm going to be doing that after this video as well, and then I'll send that over. If you have any clips like I mentioned, please help out. It could really benefit the situation, of course. I mean, you know that, right? But also, like I briefly mentioned, more members of the family are coming out to speak and kind of giving their thoughts on the situation. We have Ellie Postner on Instagram here saying, for the last 3 years we have kept quiet on the subject of our sister Ruby Franke for the sake of her children. Behind the public scene, we have done everything we could to try and make sure the kids were safe. We wouldn't feel right about moving forward with regular content without addressing the most recent events. Once we do, we will not be commenting on it further. Ruby was arrested, which needed to happen. Jodi was arrested, which needed to happen. The kids are now safe, which is #1 priority. And yet again, there's no mention of Kevin here, so I'm not sure if that was just misinformation previously, or maybe Kevin is just in communication with the police, maybe giving his version of events throughout the last few years, you know, not actually arrested, but speaking to the police and given his side of the story, right? Now, one thing I just didn't think about when I first saw these articles coming out this morning and then when the news broke was the fact that we've been speaking about recently how Ruby's been deleting a lot of stuff. She deleted a whole YouTube channel after not using it for like a year, right? She didn't delete it previously, she kept the channel up, just wasn't using it, then randomly out of nowhere deleted it. And at the time, I thought it was because these mainstream articles are coming out, but we also spoke about the possibility in them videos that maybe something is happening, and maybe Ruby is aware that something bad could be happening here, and she just wants to get rid of any evidence. And obviously we still don't know, but it is something worth thinking about, right? Did she delete the channel to try and get rid of evidence because she knew something like this was coming? If that is the case, then it does make a lot of sense in hindsight, right? But, I mean, we don't know. It is speculation. But yeah, as for the most recent bit of information I've came across, it is this article kind of going into more details about why Ruby and Jodi were arrested. And yeah, I'm going to give a trigger warning. It's fucking disgusting. After a YouTube star was arrested and charged with aggravated child abuse, new information details that a child climbed out of a window to get help, which led to the discovery of abuse. Arresting documents detail that the arrest was made after a child climbed out of the window of an Ivan's residence at around 10:50 AM Wednesday and ran to a neighbour's home for help. The home belonged to Jodi Hildebrandt, who was involved with a parent counselling service called Connexions and was also arrested in relation to the case. The child knocked on the door and asked for food and water, but the neighbour noticed duct tape on the child's ankles and wrists and called the police, documents state. Like, how fucking sad. Genuinely, like, it's actually heartbreaking. Like I mentioned, we've seen a lot of stuff on camera, and it has been disgusting. And obviously I mentioned the fact that we don't know what's happened off camera, but even then, you still didn't want to think it would be like this, right? Duct tape around ankles and wrists, like, what is going on here, man? The calling party stated the juvenile appeared to be emaciated and malnourished, with open wounds and duct tape around the extremities. A statement from local authorities reads, police described the wounds, neglect and malnourishment of the child to be severe. Arresting documents state, and yeah, I mean, I don't even know if I want to carry on reading through all of this, to be honest. Yeah, so I'm actually just going to paraphrase the rest of this because it's so graphic, and I just don't feel comfortable reading it, to be honest. But basically, the article goes on to say that another child was found in the home who was found to be malnourished as well. And during the search of the home, evidence was found that was consistent with the markings found on the children, right? And then it goes on to say that there was a YouTube video filmed at this residence that proves that Ruby was there and it was aware of what's going on here. And the way they've worded this makes it seem as if Ruby wasn't at the home when the police showed up and the kids were with Jodi instead, which kind of makes sense because in the previous article it mentioned how Ruby was going away for like a family emergency or something, but then also obviously mentions that she was at the home around about that time and was aware of what's happening. And then it carries on saying that Ruby has decided to not speak with police and has instead requested a lawyer, and she was ordered to be held without bail in the Washington County Jail. And finally it says that the children were taken into the care of the Department of Child and Family Services. I mean, it's fucking heartbreaking, isn't it? I don't know, man. Like, I shouldn't be shocked, right? Because I've spoke about Ruby for like 5 years. We all know she wasn't a good person, but fucking hell. Did anyone know it was this bad? I know there'll be people who will say that they could have guessed that it would be this bad, but just reading it and knowing it actually did happen, it's shocking, man. It's absolutely shocking. I can't even begin to imagine what the family is feeling at this point, and I just pray that justice is actually served and it isn't just a case of them being arrested and they're just let off because there's not enough evidence. There's a ridiculous amount of evidence to prove how Ruby and Jodi have been throughout the past few years. They have spoke about some of the most horrendous stuff. I mean, as I was just cutting down these videos I mentioned earlier, like my previous videos, I forgot about some of these, and they're still shocking, even though I'm listening to them for the second time. I mean, take this video, for example, which is Ruby talking about eating disorders, and a parent writes into the Mums of Truth, like, Connexions page, and says that she's worried about a child who has an eating disorder, right, and isn't eating the food. And the way Ruby answers this question is just blaming the child.
That is not the truth. Your daughter does not just have body issues out of nowhere and start lying to you out of nowhere. You're saying this just happened overnight, and that is not possible. You don't just wake up and do calculus. Well, you don't just wake up and have an eating disorder out of nowhere.
Also, by the way, the way she just like compares calculus to eating disorders, like, what is that analogy?
There have been decisions that she's made in distortion, line upon line upon line, and you're just seeing it now that it's gotten really big, but you weren't seeing it when it was not as aggressive.
Yeah, so this is kind of the theme of it. She basically blames the child for lying about this eating disorder, not telling her parent about it for however long it was going on for, as if it would be uncommon for someone with an eating disorder to keep it to themselves and not want to speak about it. Like, that is so common. A lot of people with eating disorders will not want to speak about it at first, right?
You need to take responsibility for enabling the lying, enabling and overlooking and minimizing all of the deceit that this young girl has been involved in.
Just blaming the child. Like, I don't know, with the new details that were found out today, like, I was already angry watching this video previously. You can see that in the video of me react to it for the first time, but now looking at it in hindsight, it's infuriating.
Why is this about the daughter trusting you? Do you not see that your daughter is untrustworthy? She's also very close with her brother, but they barely talk anymore. So then why are you saying they're really close? My daughter is close with her brother, but they barely talk. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, so basically she took this question and just ran with the fact that it's the child's fault. And she's running a parenting advice page, which is insane. There's so many other clips on here, like there's obviously ones from Jodi as well, where she's just like homophobic and transphobic non-stop. Yeah, there was actually this one as well, and let me just read it dead quick because It's fucking crazy. So basically, someone asked a question saying, in a previous video, Ruby said that she supported the LGBTQ community and was asking if that has changed since 2019 when that video was posted. And Ruby explains why her thoughts changed on this. And she says, fast forward 3 years, I see where those children are now. They are miserable. They are depressed. And then goes on further to say that parents who have children in the LGBTQ community are constantly worrying if the child is going to live or die. No matter how accepting the parents have been, those children are not happy. Accepted or not, they still want to kill themselves. Like, grim human being. Absolutely disgusting human being. But yeah, either way, that's the update on this situation. It's so heartbreaking. It's so fucking sad. Yeah, it's worse than we could have thought, to be honest, right? I genuinely thought that when I first saw this situation, that maybe it's just a combination of all the clips that have been posted online and the services decided it was just too far, they've seen enough and they wanted to investigate. I didn't realise that it could be as severe as this. And I knew it was severe, right? Everything that we spoke about in these videos is severe. But, I mean, what that article states happened on that day, when I climbed through the window, the duct tape, the wounds and stuff, like, nah, man, it's so fucking sad. But yeah, that is the update. I'm sure we'll hear some more stuff in the coming days, weeks, I don't know how long it's going to be, but I'm sure we will hear a lot more on how this case develops. Hopefully the children are okay. It seems like they are, they're doing better, it seems. And obviously, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you can help out, check the description, there'll be a link to the Google Doc. You can post links and any information they have specifically from the Connexions page is what Shari was after. They said they had already a bunch of stuff from the 8 Passengers channel. Yeah. That's it. I don't even know what to say at this point. I'm generally lost for words. But yeah, that's it. And yeah, until the next video, I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, goodbye.